Hi, I'm Rowan.
Hi, I'm Zach.
And you're watching episode 28 of season 2 of In the Zone. Today we'll be discussing the Twilight Zone episode, Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? We'll be spoiling the entire episode, so if you don't want it spoiled for you, you should check it out before you watch this.
So we open on a snowy landscape, and what I was thinking is, you don't usually get that in Twilight Zone.
No, you do not. So there are some alien noises, and then there are two policemen, and they're talking about how they got a phone call from a woman who says that she saw an unidentified flying object
So I was actually
land in a pond.
Is this one of the first uses of that?
Probably not, because I probably would know, like a significant piece of trivia, like the first use of the term unidentified flying object.
Yes, you would know it if it was.
Right. And there are some tops of trees have been cut off, and a bridge has been destroyed. And there are footprints from a pond, and they think it's connected to the UFO.
I don't think the bridge was destroyed by the UFO.
Okay. So the footprints lead to a diner, and so they're gonna investigate there to see if they find out more about the, what's going on. These two bland policemen with really no personality.
I couldn't tell them apart. Rod Serling's opening monologue is quite the nice opening monologue.
Why?
I don't know, I was like, that is a classy opening monologue. Because instead of finding a needle in the haystack, we've got to find a Martian in a diner.
It sort of excites you, and it sort of is a call to action to the viewer to, solve it themselves.
Yep.
And they can do so fairly easily. Fade to black. Come up and we're at the Highway Cafe, but it's hi, hello, hi-way cafe. Is that better? Is that a better cafe than the Happy Days Cafe?
Oh, this one was definitely good. It was such a good pun.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud when I saw it for the first time.
I think the Highway Cafe seems like a really pleasant place to be. So the cops enter, and so the first thing they do is they eye a dame, and they're like, They exchange some glances with her and with each other. They tell everyone the bridge is impassable, so they sort of just have to stay here until morning. This makes one guy really upset, because he has to be in Boston at 9 a.m. The old man, the irritated man with the coat, who's trying to get to Boston, do you recognize from another episode of The Twilight Zone?
Give me a season.
Season 2.
Is he eventually?
No.
I don't know, tell me!
The father in The Lateness of the Hour.
Oh my god, what an uniconic character. He looked like our newest Supreme Court Justice. Can we get a comparison here?
You're right, you are definitely right about that. He's really mad, and he's talking to the bus driver oh, your bus company is terrible, but the bus driver's like, well, yeah, because we can't control the weather. The driver says that his bus company is not doing very well, so he doesn't even really keep track of the passengers or look at them really or stuff like that. Which
who's on the bus.
Yeah, basically. So it's an excuse for not knowing really
that
who's on the bus.
That needed to be explained, because with
I don't understand that. I don't understand why you would know or why you wouldn't. What does he mean? Look at them or know their names or stuff?
Just, look at them. Because without
and what does that have to do with the financial...
That, the episode is a joke.
Right, but...
it makes not a lot of sense, but you need a little bit of an explanation for why the bus driver can't say, these were the 6 people on my bus.
However, why does the financial stability of the bus company affect your ability to, look at people?
That's really a very good question.
But
I would rather have had that than no explanation.
Absolutely. So...
They could have thought of a better explanation. What is your explanation if you are Mr. Fancy Screenwriter?
He can say he was busy reading a book. But he says he knows for sure that he had 6 in the bus, but there are 7 in the diner.
Because he does the
7
head count,
passengers.
I think.
Right. They asked the counterman, and they're like, was anyone here before the bus driver came? And he was like, no, all these people came from the bus. The guy behind the counter, do you recognize he was in 2 episodes? But both of them are I would be surprised if you remembered either of them. One is in the first season, one in the second, and then this.
Is he one of the astronauts in Otstropo?
Otstropo? No, he's none of them. Don't feel bad if you don't get these.
Give me an episode even.
Well, I don't know. I mean, so here's the thing. He was in the Purple Testament, and he was just a guy. He was he wasn't an important person like Dick York or the main guys. He was just a guy who was there. He had a few lines. But then, you probably don't even remember this character, but in The Thing About Machines, there was the television repairman. Yes. Where the guy was you're the most forgettable person I ever met. He was the television repairman.
He was the best actor of the bunch.
I disagree.
You disagree.
You know what? I thought the guy who was the crazy old man, I thought he did a really good job.
Yes, I forgot about Crazy Old Man.
He was great.
Yeah, Crazy Old Man was a high-quality Crazy Old Man.
Yeah, they were like, who wasn't on the bus? No one says that they weren't on the bus. But then the old man's like, I don't remember you, sort of like wacky, weird, goofy, strange old man, other old man. We don't really know people's names. Apparently, the guy with the coat who's irritated, his name is Ross. And then how about we say Crazy Oldman? How about Oldman?
Oldman?
Oldman.
What about just a drunk guy?
He wasn't drunk.
Really?
He was not showing, that was not what was indicated.
He had 14 cups of coffee. Remember that when the guy was
drunk
giving
on coffee.
The bills? How do you drink 14 cups?
He was there for a while, you know. But, I mean, sort of, at a certain point, it's like, I'm full, you know what I mean? Ross says he doesn't recognize Oldman from the bus, and Oldman doesn't recognize Ross from the bus, and he's like, that makes one of us a liar!
Alright, that was dead on.
Thank you. Someone says that when they exited, it was snowy and dark, so it would have made sense for someone to just sort of like, hey! And like they're walking, and then a guy just sort of comes into the group.
They were all covering they were like closing their eyes because of the snow.
Like, that kind of thing. Then there's this woman, and she says to eliminate the couples, because obviously they were together.
Who is it who says that?
This is Ethel McConnell, who's a professional dancer, and if you've watched the Twilight Zone, you know what that means. There's a younger couple who just got married. There's Connie and then her husband. He's like, oh, we're in the clear. We just got married. And then Connie's like, I could have sworn there was a mole on your chin. It's like, Connie, baby, I never had a mole on my chin. What are you saying? Whoa, tensions are...
Right. Now, the one thing about that is like, if the point is to make...
Tensions are highway.
So if the point is to make George a suspect, they did it horribly. And if the point is
definitely.
And if the point is to do anything else, they did it even worse.
The point is like to build tension.
Yeah.
It's like the dumbest tension. Like,
no,
I thought there was a mole.
The case of the missing
mole. They're sort of trying to set up the slightest threat of like people turning against each other like monsters, but they never really. There's like 30 seconds where they discuss that and then never comes up again. It's just like something that happens that it's like, well, forget about the mole, I guess.
If they're trying to make him a suspect, they did it poorly because there was an extra person, not a replaced person. Like, no one thought that the Martian that one of the people is actually a Martian pretending to be the person.
What?
Alright, there's an extra person, right? And no one thinks that one of the people who was on the bus is now actually a Martian pretending to be
it doesn't make sense. You're exactly right.
So Connie has the...
Because it's not like there's a guy who's the husband and then a guy who's a husband who doesn't have a mole.
Yeah, so Connie
It wouldn't make any sense. If he, like, murdered him and took his spot, well then why is there another person?
Yes.
You're exactly right.
I would say
that's a very good observation.
Connie has the logic of a sofa.
And of me, I suppose. And then there's the old husband, there's an older couple. He doesn't want people to make up false clues like on brain games, where it's like, you think something and then your mind tricks you into remembering something that never happened.
Brain Games the Game, our sponsor.
Yes, we're tying it all back to Brain Games the Game, our sponsor. Even so, his wife becomes suspicious. Like, we've been married 23 years, but she's like, ooh. Like, that's sort of dumb.
I noticed.
Like, literally, are you an idiot? The old man sitting up at the bar, he's sort of a jokester.
I do feel like a lot of this actual plot of the episode is not really very notable.
Yeah, it's mostly, that's really a big problem. Really, I do not like these kind of episodes where they just think, they sort of talk. And the big deal of where it's like this character, well, someone else could be saying that. Why does it have to be you? Oh, give them more lines. Here, when you have more artistic freedom, you don't need to hire the couple. You can just have someone else say their lines, someone say their lines. Because anyone can say those lines. The characters are not distinguishable. The old man's acting kind of kooky, so they ask him for his ID, and he for some reason, he gives sort of a non-answer. What does he say?
I don't know.
But either way, it isn't... He doesn't have it, but they sort of just move on. And they ask him who won the World Series, and he says, Pittsburgh Pirates! You think us Martians don't know anything about the great American pastime? I guess he's right, I don't know. The person who plays Ethel, I thought she did a great job as well.
She did a decent job.
And so they ask her for ID, because they notice her laughing, I guess, when they hear someone. you're like the blind police. Whenever they hear someone, then they ask them something that doesn't make sense. So they ask her for her ID, and she said, "No, I put it in my suitcase. That it was shipped ahead of me to the next town."
So that was sketchy.
They asked Ethel what she does. She's a professional dancer. And so the bus driver was like, "Oh no, she's fine. I noticed her getting on. She was the only one I noticed." So I guess that eliminates her pretty much.
No, but actually...
Zycrus, the bus driver, why would he lie about that? That doesn't make sense.
Because he's a sleazy person who's trying to hit on something.
That's a very good point. So then the old man is like, "What? Who noticed the bus driver? It could be you!" The irritated man says, Ross, I think his name is.
Yes, but we don't really know that ever.
Yeah, Dilly says, "You know how I told you my name was Ross?"
No.
No. Well, it wasn't. Okay. Whoa, what a twist! I thought it was Ross. Ross says that the bus driver is mistaken, and the bus driver is like, "Impossible. I specifically checked." And then the jukebox plays,
Yes, but the other thing
and the lights flicker. Fade to black. We come up, and now the cops are outside, and everyone's inside. So the bus driver's talking to Haley, which is the name of the counterman. He's like, "Hey, did you do any of that stuff? Like maybe he has some control over the electronics, like a little weird remote in his counter or something?" And he says,
Yeah.
"First of all, why would he do that? Second of all, no." He says he did not. Old man goes up to the jukebox seat and goes, "Take me to your leader! Where's good boy?" And then the cops come in. And that's a little. Oh wait, what? They say they found no new evidence or anything. They said the bridge looks good. Then the bus guy was like, "I don't know, I don't trust that bridge. That bridge is old, it's rusty, and
It sways in the wind, and it's not a suspension bridge."
Yes, exactly.
That was a little bit like, I don't know, too much tech.
And that
The fact that it sways in the wind and it's not supposed to.
And the fact that he brings it up later in the episode is like, I think this might be important. So the bus driver is like, "I don't want to cross that bridge," but the guy who's apparently going to go to Boston at 9 a.m. was like, "I don't care, because you need to get there, because I need to get to Boston." The lights flicker. Whoa, and the jukebox turns on.
Whoa, and then the cop flips out and pulls out his gun.
Because all of a sudden, because I was taking notes, I didn't notice when it happened, but all of a sudden he was just standing there with his gun. He's like, "What? Why are you doing that?" Then they have some more meaningless talk. I don't know if we discussed it. I think we discussed it a little, but I just wanted to talk about it some more. The plot doesn't really move forward. It's just people thinking, "Oh, it could be this, it could be that." I don't know. Well, see, that's a really big problem for me. That the dialogue doesn't advance the plot. It just sort of... It doesn't advance it forward, it advances it upward, so that it's like more of like so you have more knowledge about what's going on here, but it doesn't actually affect what happens later. So then they talk, and there's this meaningless thing about, "I want to leave," because you can't really... You're innocent until proven guilty, and there's really no proof against any of them, just speculation. Could have told me that when we started the episode. Could have fast-forwarded through a lot.
Yes, but the thing is, innocent until proven guilty. Like, I think you can arrest people on probable cause.
Well, there was nothing. They had
Yes,
really
but
no
if you have
evidence.
something as serious as being a Martian, and there are 7 people, and
But
one of the
there's
7 people is a Martian.
But when you're a policeman, it's like, we've never heard of a Martian before. There's never been a Martian before. And there's like no definitive evidence. I think you're gonna be reluctant to say you're a Martian, you know. And then the lights flicker. Oh, and then salt explodes. 2 glass breaks. The salt shakers explode.
Yay!
Yay! So then the phone rings, and the policeman who's about to shoot everyone picks it up, and it says that the bridge is okay to go. And so he's like, "Okay, I guess you can leave." The bus driver's like, "Well, I still don't trust that bridge, but I guess I'm gonna go anyway." So people pay for food, and then they leave on the bus. Later, the counterman is in the diner, and he's all alone, and the music just is perfect choice of music. It perfectly
the next
evokes.
scene makes no sense.
I know, but anyways, the music, just this moment, just these 30 seconds before the person says anything, before they show that it's them and they explain, it's really good. It's really well done because the music was perfectly fits the atmosphere that the script evokes of like this sort of like, it doesn't feel right to send them out, you know. Also, the snowy atmosphere is very good and cool. The person enters, and it's the guy who is the Martian. Oh, surprise, surprise, it's Ross, the irritated man.
Hey, you know how I told you I am Ross? Nope!
It's so funny. He asked for some black coffee, and the dude was like, "What about the bus?" Haley, the counterman. And he's like, "Yeah, the bridge collapsed and everyone died, except for me." And it's just sort of crazy that's like, whoa, everyone died. Isn't that sad? Even Connie and her husband, who they were dumb.
But at least
it may have been natural
have a rule
selection,
anymore.
but even so. But he's like, you're not wet. And he's like, what is wet? And it's a little dumb that it's like he doesn't know what wet is, but it sort of makes sense because it's like, obviously, when he learns English, he just translates words from his language, and because he's a creature who doesn't get wet, then they just wouldn't have a word for wet, so it would never come up in the curriculum. This reveals that he is the Martian, and then he's like, oh yeah, I did all the jukebox stuff and the lights, and then he makes the phone ring and all this stuff because he has magic abilities. Sure, I'm totally on board. And then he takes off his coat, he has 3 arms, just like a Martian does.
I thought it was like not poorly done.
No,
but it was also not very well.
It wasn't that good. So
did it like sneak someone behind him and shove their arm?
Probably Rod Serling was like, wait, we didn't get anyone to do that. Dang it, alright, I'll do it. But it was well choreographed. They practiced it a lot, so it looked like he was actually controlling all the arms. That was done very well. That's how we should open the Zonies, is that you and Calvin are both my arms, and then I take off the coat and it's you, and you go, hey, and then they sit in your chairs and they say, now let's get started. So...
No.
Alright. So he explains that he was coming from Mars to colonize Earth, and this is a good place, this town in particular is a good place to colonize. And he says, yeah, it is. That's why I'm from Venus and I'm colonizing you.
Whoa!
And the Venusian spaceship, I guess, blew up your dumb, Martian spaceship, so no one else from Mars is coming down. And if you live long enough to see the new Venusian colony, you'll see how we differ. I have a third eye. Looks a little bit dumb.
Yeah,
the end.
Just the last scene is bad.
It doesn't. Why does he go back to the diner?
I know.
Why the heck?
And why does he go back to the diner? And why does he reveal his plan?
Even if he could have just said, "I miraculously escaped," and then cried off. But even so, it's like, why do you go there? And then why do you go there and reveal your plan? I don't know. It wasn't like he was planning to kill him. And even if he was, it's like, why would you do that?
The Martian is actually really just a low-quality Martian.
What if they ended the episode with him just washing the dishes, just thinking about it? Wouldn't that be cool? Like,
no, then you don't.
That's sort of weird. Like, that's sort of weird, that whole thing that happened, but I guess we'll move on, and I hope nothing happens again. That would be an interesting way to end the episode, probably better than what actually happens. But it's just very unconventional for television.
Yeah, I would say what you do is you go
It wouldn't happen, but I like it.
I would say you go to the actual bridge, and you see, Neil walking away from the scene of the crime. Like, you go to the actual bridge, you have the wreck of a bus, and Neil walks out.
That's good. Because then, when he goes to the diner, there's no reason for him to go to the diner, but everything else, if he just did it, then that would make sense, sure. Yeah. But it doesn't make sense why you kill them. But you're right, wait a minute. But I am right, because as I mentioned earlier, no reason to kill them, really.
No, there was reason to kill them, though.
Why?
No one to suspect you.
Or
actually,
what?
Okay, so I'm gonna give one thing that could have made some sense. Alright,
okay.
So they know.
What a weirdest way to
some
post
people
that
know
sentence.
that there is a Martian. He collapses the bridge. People think that it was an accident, killing everyone who knew about it. And then he goes back to the diner to kill off the counterman.
Why does he need to kill people who know about it? Because what's
silence?
The crime? I know, but what are they gonna say? They're gonna say, I think there was a. So
they're gonna say that something came out of the sky, and it was. And then there were 7 people on our car instead of 6, and that's going to be enough to get someone to suspect.
In his mind, they're gonna come. The Martians are gonna come pretty soon. So by the time they figure out that it's him, it's like, well, yeah, we're Martians and we're colonizing. It doesn't have to be a secret anymore.
His motive is not as obviously stupid, I guess, because he could have done that, and that makes some sense.
It wouldn't have made that much sense, in my opinion, because when they get there, it's like, yeah. We're Martians, but if you try to get scared of us or attack us because we're Martians, now we have a Martian army. So it doesn't matter at this point.
No, but still, like, I don't know, it's less dumb. Because otherwise, why does he go back to the diner? Do you have a better explanation for why?
I'm not saying that there's a good reason for him to go back to the diner.
I know, I'm saying here is a possible reason.
Yes, but I'm saying why that wouldn't work.
You know, I thought it was really obvious that it was him after a while.
Yeah, because here's the thing. We have 7 suspects. It's not any of the couples because of the couple thing. Probably not any of them. It's not the crazy guy.
Well, because the crazy guy is just screamingly obvious.
Alright, so...
Or let's say, so you have 8 people.
8 people, right, because the bus driver. So it's not the couples, it's not the people, so it's either guy with a coat, the dancer, or the bus driver.
Actually,
Yeah,
it's
no
really
question.
just between Ethel and Bitterman. And it's actually really just...
Why not the bus driver?
Because, just the bus driver gets accused once and you really feel like there's no substance behind that.
Yeah, the accusation
The
is
bus
sort of
driver
made.
is the lead.
The accusation is sort of made and just sort of made for the sake of being made. The way it's presented is not. Just the way the line is presented is not in a way that's like, this is gonna be important. It's just sort of like, it could be you, you know?
Yeah, but also, 6 people got on the bus, right? There was also a bus driver on the bus. Remember, no one got replaced, and no one else was pretending.
This is interesting. Yeah. The only way you could have another bus driver is to replace the first
So
bus
it's
driver.
actually-
So therefore, it is. That wouldn't make sense.
Yes.
Wow, this is great. And then it's between Bitterman and
Ethel.
Ethel. Theoretically, it could also be between the old man at the bar, but it's not.
Yes.
It just isn't.
I feel like, actually, I'm going to include Old Man here, because the list, the 3 people who were suspicious, who, like, did suspicious things, and made you feel like they were
Why was he suspicious? Why was the old man suspicious?
I mean, he wasn't that suspicious, but he did, like, they asked for an idea,
He was
and
just
he said
bluffing.
no.
He was just sort of, yeah, sure. And he was just playing this sort of like, this is ridiculous character. He was just doing it so much, like sort of, you notice this? You notice that I don't think that the aliens are real? So that they would, you know, that could be a thing the Martian's
but,
doing, sure. But in the context of watching a television episode, it's like they would not make that guy the Martian. The least scary.
Yes. If you were
guy.
least
Least scary,
yes.
most obviously weird guy. No, it's not him.
If you were a policeman going into
Yes,
a diner
sure.
where there was a Martian, you would arrest
Yes,
that.
but this is different. This is an episode of television. This is not a case, and we're not doing in the crime.
There were a couple of subtle things that made me think it was the dame.
Like, well, she had no identification.
But, yeah, when the trooper shined the flashlight in her face, the jukebox turned on.
Yeah, that is, yeah, like right as he was gonna start to question her, then she diverts attention. That would make a lot of sense. It would have made sense if the person ended up being the Martian when they shine the flashlight in their face, and then the jukebox start. Then that would make sense for the distractions to happen. As it is, it's like, why did that happen? I have no idea why they would do that.
I don't know.
I seriously don't know why they
Yes.
would do that. They could just, I mean, they could save it for the end to be like, oh, I'm a Martian, yeah. I'm fine with it being in the last scene, but here it's like, the policemen are obviously reluctant to say that someone's a Martian, so wouldn't you want to capitalize on that by, like, making it seem obvious that there's not a Martian? That is the biggest flaw. There's no reason, except for to keep the audience engaged, that you would want to explode salt shakers. That just makes it obvious that something is not right here, and that would make them hold you for further questioning. You got lucky this time.
So also, to add on to that, so let's just say, everyone in the room is pushing different things.
Yeah.
Right, and like, they kind of have different opinions about what's happening, and the Martian is pushing the opinion that there is no Martian. And then the Martian
However,
proceeds to reinforce the
That's
idea
a very good point.
that there is a Martian.
Ridiculous. The Martian's motivations are really unclear. What I was gonna say about the counterman was that his motivations, I feel, completely make sense.
Yeah, I guess
He would set up in business
his
so he can
actions
sort of
were-
live in the town and just know what the town's like. And yeah, unlike the Martian.
The Martian's actions make no sense. Also, what is it with the Twilight Zone? Mars aliens and Venus aliens. There are other aliens too!
Plutonians.
Yeah.
Jupiter. You never hear about Jupiter. Neptune? No, I don't think so. But you're right, in Dingle it is Martians and Venusians.
Yeah, and you start out with the Martian, and then you
I would
pull
say
in the Venusians in a twist ending.
I will say, exactly. The concept of being an alien and coming to Earth for the purposes of colonization makes a lot more sense than being a Venus alien and coming to Earth for the purposes of doing experiments.
This isn't on the scale of that episode.
Yeah, it is not as bad.
I would have liked a twist like in Monsters, where there was no alien all along.
Well, there was an alien all along in Monsters. That was the twist.
Yes, but it was none of the suspects.
I think it's cheap when you're in a mystery and then it's not one of the suspects. I like it when it's one of the suspects, but there was evidence that they didn't notice, that kind of thing. Because it's like,
But that
if I can't, it's not impressive if it's someone who I wasn't even considering, because then it wasn't like I had a chance to get it but didn't. That's like, oh, you fooled me. Otherwise, it's like, well, that's a completely other thing.
I would compare this episode to off-brand monsters I do on Maple Street.
Yeah, it's sort of a lighter...
Like, lighter, funnier, not quite as good.
Yeah, it's lighter, worse. There's this... I was just thinking about monsters doing Maple Street. It's so amazing how it's like, oh, we're just any old... But then they just, like, bam. They just, like...
Monsters is well done, I think.
Yeah, it's very well done. But it still has a problem that I have with Will the Real Martian Police and that, which is, like, the characters... There's so many of them that they're just sort of bland, and then they're just saying lines that really any of them could say, besides the, I guess, the old man slightly irritated, and then the crazy guy's, like, crazy, and, but they're, like, but otherwise, like when there's the older couple where there's the man who's like, well, why don't we do this? It's like, anyone could have said that. And then there's, Connie, baby, I didn't have a mole on my chin.
George! But you did have a mole on your chin.
That was, yeah, those two were really just, like,
the worst.
Filler characters. And wow, zero chemistry. And they were both just bad actors.
Yeah,
especially the husband.
Some of the acting was a little bit like they were reading the lines off a page.
But the good things were atmosphere, acting, except for the couple, the young couple.
Connie, baby! I would have sworn there was a mole!
There's a mole.
A mole?
They could have called it Will the Real Mole. Please show up. I think that the old man character who was like, wah, wah, it was just a lot of fun to watch.
I'm not sure I like the inclusion of the crazy man character. Because it kind of takes the episode on a lighthearted turn. Like, everyone's in the cast. You prefer
it wouldn't be lighthearted? I don't know. I sort of like the lighthearted. And then, because I guess...
with scary, everyone's in the diner, they have to stay in the minor, and one of them is a space alien who keeps flickering.
Yeah, you're right about that. But I do like the thing where it's like, everything's happy, and then it's like, oh, everyone got killed, except for me. That whole thing, that's kind of cool. That's like, whoa, I did not expect that to happen. Is there anything more you want to add?
My rating.
Okay, what is it?
Can I get a drum roll? Because I feel like an episode this long needs a good build up to the rating.
Definitely. Make them wait for it.
Chin, even though I know it already.
10, says Calvin.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it is a 6.5.
Alright, I'm definitely in the same zone with you, maybe exactly. Let me think for just a little second here. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Cool.
Alright.
Rating split! Rating split! Rating split! Yeah.
We'll see you next week, for our season finale. We will be discussing the obsolete man, and we hope to see you then. There's going to be a lot of energy. It's going to be a lot of fun to just get this season over with. No offense, season 2. But it's fun. It's like the end of a chapter. Great. A big accomplishment. Landstone, my old mark. So we'll see you then.